it's just a tube top, so I can think better. Hello, sunshines. I am so excited for this movie right now. I've had this idea for probably a good year or two, and then with Age of Resistance literally around the corner, well, by the time this video goes live, technically, literally, Age of Resistance is dropping today. But that's not today when I'm filming this. So, focus! So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this fade.
So I definitely won't narrate this whole thing. There will be pockets where you get to just enjoy the speed paint process. If you're more interested in the prosthetic application process, you can jump to about 8 minutes and 20 seconds. If you don't want to watch the full-length video, there will be a much shorter and faster version of this on my Instagram very shortly. And if you care to keep up with my shenanigans, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I have a new video. This is a part 2 of my 4-part Dark Crystal series, the first video being the brief intro. After this one, I share how I sculpted and painted the prosthetic, and the final video will be the wig styling. I start off by outlining my design, followed by laying down the base tones. A quick tip if you're more comfortable with drawing on paper, what you can do is draw out your design on paper first, then go over your design several times with a Bic pen. Next, you apply a gel-based deodorant to the skin, put your design face down, and the ink will transfer. This is how I do a lot of my stencils, and it saves me a lot of time where I can focus on painting the details and other things. In terms of color choice, always have reference images, but don't be afraid to get creative and deviate a bit. As long as your shadows and your highlights are in the right place, that's all that matters. So for example, if you're using white for a highlight, you can use any pale pastel shade, so pale pink, pale blue, pale yellow as a substitute. Art is about fun in the end, so experiment as much as you want. Instead of black, do dark purple or dark blue. Just kind of really play around or look for shades that are similar to what your character or whatever you're painting, and just switch it up a bit. It's okay, trial and error. If you don't like it, paint over it, try something else. For this paint, I wanted a happy marriage between the 1982 movie and the new show. So obviously the crystal is the newer show. I think it's the most recent poster I had seen go out, and I really honestly love the challenge of trying to get the little gelflings in there and all the details that come with it. And then the Mystic and the Skeksis are more so based off the 1982 movie, and obviously the Skeksis is Chamberlain, because obviously that was just the only choice. And then for the background, it doesn't really matter what you do. Personally, I love going abstract. I like when there's a really good mix between a realistic character and a more abstract background. So yeah. Another trick that you can use for painting is using a barrier spray. So if you're trying to do your highlights in white and you're noticing that the colors are kind of bleeding together or getting kind of mucky looking, a barrier spray will go create exactly as it sounds, a barrier between your layers of paint. So let's say you have black, you put on some barrier spray, let it dry, you should be able to do clean white over it and it not mix together. My favorite go-to is the Mayron barrier spray, but I've also used hairspray in a pinch when I run out of my barrier spray. The only thing I find is that the barrier spray actually dries, whereas the hairspray can stay a little sticky sometimes, so you might need to go powder it before painting more. The last thing I will say is that for much of the shading, I just go in with eyeshadows. That's it for now. I will let you enjoy the rest of the speed painting process, and I will come back in a few minutes to explain to you how I apply the prosthetic. To apply the prosthetic, you can use something like spirit gum. I almost always use Prosthetic. If you're using spirit gum, tap the spirit gum with your finger gently to allow it to get tacky, and if you are using Prosthetic, apply it with a Q-tip, wait for it to go clear, and that's when it's tacky. I cover my brows before I apply the prosthetic, and then I start by gluing down around the nose area and moving outward using a blow dryer in between to speed up the process. Quick note, for hygienic reasons, I have multiple bottles of Prosthetic, one I use strictly on myself and one that goes in my kit. For sanitary reasons, I will always pour the Prosthetic into a small plastic cup like the ones used to measure medicine that I will then dispose of. Once the prosthetic is glued down, I paint around the eyes. Agra only has the one eye, so I paint the one side gray, and then the side where she doesn't have the eye, I paint in black. Around the side that's gray, I will then shade with black eyeshadow to give it more definition. I use the same technique to try to mask my nose as much as possible. I painted around the masked areas that I wanted more shadowed in black body paint. I would most definitely not do this for a regular character makeup, but seeing as this was more of like an artistic interpretation instead of one straight character, I took a few liberties with it. Using a super fluffy brush, I then just take some black eyeshadow to help blend the black from the face into the blue kind of background that I have going on so that it's a little more seamless. To glue on the crepe hair, I would typically use spirit gum, but to be completely honest, my bottle was glued shut, so I used Prosthetic. If you require the hair to be straighter, you can steam it. In my case, this was the perfect texture for what I wanted to achieve. I waited for the Prosthetic to go clear, and then I applied the hair longer than what was really needed so that I could then go in and trim as necessary, using just cuticle scissors. I wasn't fully happy with how the lips were looking, so I just quickly altered the shape a little and the color. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching.